Hey guys, and a very warm welcome back to What's for Tea, and I hope that I find you all very well indeed. Well, what sort of day have you had? It's been absolutely freezing here, freezing cold so it has, but I've decided to pop up this wee recipe for a Millionaire Shortbread that I found online. Now, like I said to you guys the other day, I haven't actually made this before, so this is the first time I'm attempting it. I knew it was going to be quite easy. The only thing that was kind of tricky was going to be potentially the caramel, but I've discovered that with a really good non-stick pan and a silicone spatula, you're absolutely fine. You can't really go wrong as long as you keep stirring. So I scoured the internet for a couple of days, and the recipe I'm using tonight seemed like it's the far simplest that I managed to find that I wanted to do and pass on to you guys, because I don't want anything to be overly complicated if I can help it. Right, so this is what I've used, and this is what you're going to need if you want to follow along with this wee recipe. First of all, I've got 2 tablespoons of golden syrup. I've got 400 grams of condensed milk. I've got 200 grams of melted milk chocolate. I'm just using Cadbury Dairy Milk. 160 grams of plain all-purpose flour, 215 grams of salted butter, 115 is for your shortcake, and the other 100 grams is for your caramel. 100 grams of soft brown sugar, 60 grams of white caster sugar, and I also picked up a wee edible gold spray because I thought that might be quite pretty to spray on just at the at the end when I cut it up, but I'll show you that in a wee second. I was in picking up the brown sugar and I seen this next to all the bacon bits and bobs, and I thought that would be really, really attractive sprayed on the end, but that's if it works. It might might end up making a complete mess of it, but we'll see if we decide to use that or not. So first thing you want to do, guys, is get your tin prepared for your base. So I'm just using a square cake pan here, and with the paper from my butter, I'm just going to go around and grease my pan, because this is going to help the greaseproof paper stay inside the pan and it won't go springing all over the place. So then you want to get your greaseproof paper, stick your pan in the middle, and with a pair of scissors you just want to cut from the corners of the paper until your scissors meet your tin. And this is just going to make your paper go in really easy and stay there. So once you've done that, just push it in. Look at that, super easy. And you want to leave it quite long and hanging over the edges like this, because that's going to help lift your shortcake out when it's fully cooked. So that's it. And you want to get your oven on to gas mark 4 or 180°C. Now we're going to start making the shortcake. So you want to first of all add your caster sugar, that's 60 grams. Then your plain or all-purpose flour, that's 160 grams. Then your salted butter. You can use unsalted if you like. Just make sure it's in wee cubes, because it's going to make it that much easier to rub into your flour and your sugar in a wee minute. This is just room temperature. So with your hands and your fingertips, first of all you want to go around and coat your butter with the flour and sugar, and then you want to rub it together in your fingertips until it all comes together and looks like this. I was going to say it looks like breadcrumbs, but actually looks more like scrambled eggs to me. So this is what you're looking for, guys, something that looks like this. And this will take you a good few minutes to do properly, but you want to make sure that everything is properly rubbed in together. And it's gone a lovely golden colour, but that's the butter that's done that. So now you want to grab your pan again, and if you're happy with your mixture, just dump it all into your tin. And with a spatula or a spoon or even your fingers, press this into the bottom of your tin. You just want to make sure it's quite compact and you get right into those corners. But don't worry about, not being able to lift this out at the end, because you've left the greaseproof paper quite long on the edges. This is going to be really easy to lift out. You just pull your paper upwards and it'll come straight out of the tin. So I'm just going in with my fingers and just pressing it right down and right into those corners. Because you want to make sure it's right up to the edges, because obviously you're going to be pouring a layer of hot caramel on top of this, so you don't want it leaking down the sides or into those corners, because you want your 3 layers to be, nice and crisp and separate. So I was quite happy with this. And the next thing you want to do is grab yourself a fork and just go around, at random places and just prick the top of your shortcake or shortbread. And once you've done that, you're going to need to chill this for about 30 minutes in the fridge to get it nice and firm again. And after your 30 minutes, you can take it out of the fridge and pop it straight into your oven. Bake it for 25 to 30 minutes, gas mark 4. Just keep a wee eye on it. While you're doing that, you can get your ingredients in the pan for your caramel. So that's your condensed milk and your syrup. And your sugar. And then the rest of your butter. And then if your cake, I keep saying cake, your shortcake, if it's ready, you can just pull that out of the oven and set it to the side until you make your caramel. And then by the time you've made your caramel, this will be good to go. So I actually got distracted, the phone went and I was on the phone for a few minutes, so mine wouldn't, I'd like this to be a wee bit lighter, but it doesn't matter. It's still going to taste fabulous. But if you're doing it yourself, you might want to pull it out a couple of minutes earlier than I did, if you'd like it a wee bit paler. So just set that to the side and then we'll do the caramel. So bring all your ingredients that are in your pan up to the boil, and then once it's at the boil, reduce it to a nice firm simmer. And you've got to stir this constantly, guys, for 5 or 6 minutes. Do not walk away from it because you will end up with big blobs of burnt sugar in your caramel, and that would be a disaster because you want this to be lovely and smooth. So just keep stirring and keep stirring. I found it really easy using the spatula. This is a silicone spatula, and you can get right into the corners and all the wee nooks and crannies. And this is a really good non-stick pan as well. So the two of them together made this actually very easy. So you want to quickly get back to your base as soon as your caramel is ready, because this will set quite quickly. And you want to be able to move it around and get into the corners and stuff. So dump it on top. And once you've got it all out of your pan, you can just gently tilt your tin just to make sure your caramel is getting into all of those corners, because don't touch this caramel with your fingers, guys. It is going to be scorching hot. I don't think I have to tell you how warm this sugar concoction is. So that's it. So I was quite happy with this. Now you're going to have to let this set completely before you put your last step on, which is obviously your chocolate. Now this will take a couple of hours. Just pop it back into your fridge. So this was me a couple of hours later, and as you can see, it's got a lovely shine off it now, and I can touch this and it's really quite firm. I know that when I put my chocolate on top, it's not going to mix in with the caramel or anything. So I was quite happy to put the chocolate on top of this. So now when you want to go and melt your chocolate now. So just put a wee bit of water in the bottom of a pan, get it up to a simmer, put your chocolate into a glass heat-proof bowl, but just make sure that your chocolate or the bowl isn't actually touching the water, because you don't want to scorch your chocolate. You just need the tiniest bit of water and a glass bowl. And just keep stirring, and eventually you'll end up with a lovely, smooth, fluid, melted chocolate. And you just want the water under this just simmering and no more. It doesn't have to be, furiously boiling or anything. You just want a nice gentle heat coming from underneath. And I was quite happy with this. So now you've got to quickly get your chocolate over to your caramel and dump it on top. Because your caramel is cold, your chocolate is going to set quite quickly. So with my spatula, I just went round the whole thing, making it as even as I could. It's just so that when, you cut it up at the end, there's an even amount of chocolate on all the squares. So I was quite happy with this. So now I'm just going to pop this back into the fridge and let this set completely. Probably take about half an hour to an hour. I'll leave it for an hour because I'm in no rush anyway. So this was me 30 minutes later, and it's just out of the fridge. Now wait and you see how easy this is to get out the tin. You literally just lift it out. Just like that. Easy peasy. There's absolutely no struggling with this at all, and you just want to peel the paper back and leave this at room temperature for about 15 minutes before you try and cut it, or it's going to be very, very hard and difficult to cut. Now all you can see is my fingerprints there because of, it's obviously still very cold and the kitchen temperature quite warm, so there's a wee bit of condensation, so that's the reason for the fingerprints. So you just want to go ahead and cut this into squares. Just letting you see what it's like inside. Lovely crumbly biscuit, lovely smooth caramel, and that beautiful milk chocolate. So this made an absolute ton. But it won't last long in this house, I can assure you. I just tried a wee corner because I don't have I'm not really a one for sweets and things, but it had a beautiful flavour. I'm just going to spray on some of this edible gold lustre, and look at that, how pretty. Depending on how the light shines on it, it does look more gold. Like there, you can just see it there. But they've all got this lovely sheen off them, and I just think it looks gorgeous. And it tasted just as good as it looks. So, I would urge you to give this a go, guys. Yeah, it's quite time consuming, I'm not going to lie. It did take several hours from start to finish, but, because you've got to chill it and take it out, chill it again, take it out. But in my opinion, just for once, once in a while, it would be worth making, definitely. So let me know if you decide to go and give it a go, because I'm always interested to hear when you guys try anything that'll pop up. And like I said, it's actually quite easy, if I'm being honest. It wasn't difficult at all, but like I said, it is quite time consuming. So it's up to you. If you've got the time to do it, I would highly recommend it. So that's us, guys. So that's us till tomorrow. So I'll be popping up meals of the week probably around about 7 o'clock. And then after that, I've got a few things in mind, and I'll be putting up a few polls for you guys to be able to choose what you fancy seeing me do next. So until I see you next time, guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you then. Bye for now. Bye now.